Good afternoon. My name is Maxim. I came from the city of Zheleznovodsk, Stavropol Krai. I lived in Moscow before that, but now came here to be close to nature and to master. I first heard about him from one person, then saw an inner and outer change in that person. I knew him well enough, and I know how hard it is to change some programs in a person. But this person succeeded. After watching this and hearing about what she does, I wanted to dive into the world of yoga and see what is really going on there. I met Imram back around 2010, 2011 or so. I attended the first seminar in Moscow. There was an interesting situation too. Master always says, materialization, materialization. Everyone comes for something. Some for material things, some for spiritual tranquility. I came just to visit then, without any request, just to have a look on that. I was invited. And when I arrived in Moscow, first of all, I felt that I simply had fallen out of time for a few hours. It was a nice first impression when I picked up the phone and saw how much time had passed. Then Master and I saw another organizer after the seminar and talked a little bit. By the way, those things Master said actually turned out to be sacred knowledge that I had not yet known or realized. Many, many years later, his words came back to me. His intention, apparently, was to establish something at that moment to help me grow in a certain way. We need some knowledge to do that. The next time I met Imram was only in 2020, 2021. I've already been through a lot in my life. I've been working on myself, health and wellness, spiritual practices, and have achieved certain results. Let's just say that even before I met Imram in 2010, I already had certain inner developments and abilities to materialize and all that. It's just, let's just say that sometimes we don't realize what we're doing. We're practicing from the inside out. We're doing something from sports, something we feel we need to do. That was the situation at the time. There were some very serious results, actually, in general. And making certain contacts and getting certain information, as Master Imram says. Akashi is an information field that we can also access, and without even considering the situation, get an answer about something or someone. I met him in 2010, and things seemed interesting. Walking out of the building after the seminar, I found myself craving for porcini mushrooms. I'm walking in the center of Moscow, Tulskaya crossing. I'm walking and craving for porcini mushrooms, white mushrooms. A man is coming towards me, an old man, with a basket of something. The contact happened in a crossing. I approached him and said, "Don't tell me you have porcini mushrooms." He opens the basket and it's full of fresh porcini mushrooms. I said, "Where are you coming from?" He says, "I'm coming back from the woods. I wanted porcini mushrooms so badly." And he gave me some porcini mushrooms and I went on my way. I didn't remember that moment. Apparently, it slipped by. But then, many, many years later, I wondered about materialization, what it is, why it happens. You have to approach everything consciously. Most often, I meet people who have traveled the path of some kind of cognition. Then they stray from this path, and then they consciously come back to this path. And then it is a more complete position. It is more durable and easier to grasp. This is about meeting Imram. In 2021, when I got the guides to him, I didn't know what he was doing for 10 years. Honestly, I was busy with my own stuff. Then an internal request arose, because I started to learn from certain people who are deeply involved with healing, with the matrix, with space, time, and causality, all in all. I started to think of Imram more and more, about some moments we shared. Then the pandemic broke out, and I get special people. It's all long stories, but I've been provided with people who were guides, who led me to Imram. In 2021, I first came to him for a retreat and then a seminar. The first day, I didn't realize what was going on anyway. For some reason, it was hard. I thought I was physically fit. I practiced with the rule gymnastic equipment. I had physical training. But I began to realize that these energy channels were burning. The first day, they were burning for sure. Then came day 2, when we started practicing pranayamas actively. First of all, what the first day and part of the second day showed was that in 2007 to 2008, when there were certain results, a lot of things I did back then were from yoga. I didn't realize it was yoga. It was something from my sport, actually. I realized later that we were pumped not only with strength, but also with energy, with inner spiritual energy. Because confidence comes from there. It's yoga again. 2021. First of all, on the second day, I entered this state of Samadhi. I didn't want to go back. It's actually an interesting experience. And it's like day 2, afternoon. And those pranayamas, I realized that I had dissolved. I was gone and I didn't want to go back. Then I heard it as if Master himself was returning me. I realized people are doing something, some things are going on, but you're in your own space, within your own situation. He said, come on, get back. And so I came out, and I spent the whole time in a semi-samadhic state. That being said, what Master demonstrates on bioenergetics, even working with the audience, that is also impressive. I was sitting with my eyes closed too. I didn't know what he was doing. I just felt waves of energy. I opened my eyes, and Imram was showing what he could do. At that, the distance was pretty serious. Even if a person has a good biofield, it can be no more than 4 to 5 meters or at most 8 meters in diameter. But the capability that he shows is quite different. The culmination of the seminar when he explains what a human being is, how information comes in, what the brain is, what the spine is, our energy system, our nervous system. For so many years, 12 years exactly, I wanted to understand, to figure it out. Because by studying, digging in, sometimes feeling, understanding, realizing, yet the full picture is not always possible to assemble. Lots of information that sometimes confuses people or keeps misleading them all the time. This or that, bad or not bad. And here's this climax, what Imram talks about the vessel, how it all happens. This puzzle really completely came together for me. It just got filled in all at once. The guys I met before the seminar who have been with Imram for a long time, one of these people is the organizer here. He's so serious. I just said one thing. I trust him, Imram. Because when we have walked the path ourselves and are looking for something, and a person gives that to us, then he is a true master. Indeed, he gives answers to our missing requests of some sort. There are few people who can mold us into something wholesome, or to add something to us that will give us the opportunity to grow even further, or to take another round of development. In conclusion, I would like to wish everyone to succeed. I have met a lot of people who have been practicing yoga for years, professionally, persistently. And I ask them, but they do not get the core of it, or they do not realize what it's for. I would like to say that people want to get away from the inner noise, as Imram says. The frontal part of the brain, the occipital part of the brain, they work and develop in a peculiar way. The system, the matrix, develops us in a special way. Those few who want to get out of this matrix, I would like them to try Kriya Yoga. To really calm down and try for once in your life to hear the information that comes from above, especially when we practice in the morning. It's pure, clear information to action. Not for reflection, just for action. Whatever is bothering you in the middle of the day or somehow making you decide, everything is solved by one practice of energization and a few pranayamas in the morning, and everyone will be fine. A lot of people are chasing places of power. There they are, really. Nature has given it to us. This is all well and good, but you can actually get this energy anywhere. We want some impressions, colors, this nature, this paradise. If someone needs that to realize themselves, well, everyone's energy is different. We've talked to Master, and not just Master. People know that everyone's battery has a different capacity. Some people have gone enough for a month or two, and some people have a small one. How can a person get this energy all the time if his capacity is small, and he has to go somewhere to some cities? So you sit down in the morning, practicing energizing for 45 minutes is already enough to feel very different and feel that energy. Even people who are sensitive to music can feel on the etheric body how it starts to work. We feel these notes, these vibrations right from morning, and this is already wonderful. Retreat is some kind of future. It's an exploration of practices, of a future that will probably be upon everyone soon, in a good way. Better let it be that way, then things will be much more interesting, colorful, and happy. Impressions. I'm calming down. I had a calming practice today. Not even to be energized, just to settle down within this egregore of people. I guess everyone's mind is so stirred today. Who, what, how. We should all calm down today so that the next practice will be much more interesting and intense. I'm for starting with the seminar. It's complete, it's good, it's pretty effective, it's informative. These 2 days allow you to dive in. More than that, I'm not sure what kind of person can handle it. But the 2-day seminar is definitely for everyone. And then there's the retreat. Interesting bunch of people. It's interesting to watch how people look at each other. It's a joy to be around people who are trying to reach for something, in the right direction. I once had a request for a change in the nearest circle. There was a retreat. There was a meeting with Imram one evening. I asked him 2 questions that interested me. Afterward, he came up to me and said, "It's going to be okay." I've lived with this "it's going to be okay" thing for 12 years. We're all optimists, all is well, as good as it gets. But I think if it's going to be, it's going to be fine. Imram said we need to practice more so that we, with our energy, with our filled vessels, can complete others. Through upward, so that we can give so much information or energy that others are tended, even unknowingly, to this path of development. I mean, it really gave even my family a leap in development. My parents spoke really well of it. Dad is an authority to me, a serious man, and has done serious things in this life. He told me once, "You know, I watched Imram, and he says all the right things." That's Dad's conclusion. And my dad's always got a point. And then Mom, she has dreams. He came to her in a dream. My mom has these prophetic dreams, actually. Unusual people come there. Once she saved, Nicholas the miracle worker came to her, she says, waking her up. She saved Father. Like she has 100% contact with these elders who come to her in dreams or in a borderline state. As for my family, the kids felt the practice too. I have a son now who is 7 years old and a daughter, 12 years old. Daughter first tried the practice about 2 years ago in the evening. She said, "Dad, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm practicing." "Can I do this with you?" I said, "Sure." There was pure energization for half an hour. It blew my mind how many negative programs came off her through yawns. We all know, we've all heard it somewhere, sometime, that yawning is not a dream, but a release of programs. People who work with it, they know. These programs came out of her. I don't know how many of them. And when she came to her senses, she got out of practice. "Daddy, what was that?" was the first question. She switched to a world of silence. She got it right the first time. She took off a lot of the programs that had been holding her back and keeping her in tension for a long, long time. As for my wife, who did not perceive yoga in any way at all and did not understand what the spiritual world was at all. As she says, "What cosmic intelligence? What are you talking about?" It had been 2 years, and she had realized what a cosmic intelligence was, had studied Surya herself a long time ago. Now she's studying 42 Kriyas. I got her from sports, and there's more brains in there. This second one is just, how can you do this one? Just do it, feel it. You don't have to think how to do it, you just have to start the impetus and that's it. Go for it. My parents are very sympathetic to all this. And thank God, I'm really grateful actually. My family has accepted it as necessary and timely in our lives. Because we also have the spiritual path in the family, not in the bud, but in a phase of development. If it so happens that we can pass on spiritual knowledge, and, shall we say, training that can tighten up our physical level so that we can contact the spiritual world properly. I will be thankful to myself and glad that at least in my family, this has already been adopted. I've had the experience of reciting prayers. Prayers are also an interesting thing. I was given some prayers once. I also had a direct connection to the church of some kind, and I began to recite prayers. From a young age, I knew how the energy came in, the retribution, how it worked, on my own level. When I started practicing myself, I started growing. I went into asceticism of a certain kind. I started reciting prayers. Our Father, to the Holy Spirit, it's a psalm. After a while, I realized that I wasn't reading them routinely. They start to sound like mantras, really. The deep voice chanting of these prayers creates such vibrations that I started to get energized by the reading. And it's really like mantras, because we don't even realize how to recite them correctly. You can feel it when you capture it. And how much energy they give you, a tremendous amount. I've heard Imram's music, back in 2010 and now. The music has gotten better. We were driving with a friend one day, and I said, "Hey, what's the music you have playing?" "It's Imram." "Well, he's good in jamming." We're joking. But it's interesting to make music. I'm a music lover. I'm a fan of instrumental music, where the soul is still invested, unlike electronic music. I started listening to this music before the concert, because it is indeed interesting. Some pretty impressive uplifting notes he's got. Very high, on a level that helps a person both to grow and at least to keep himself in some state of correct energization. Which track do I like? Not so much people have heard this. He has a track with some kind of Russian spirit. I can't find it here right now. But he really has it. I like high notes. One of the masterpieces he has. You know this track, right? Imram performs well, but Miriam too is so good. Her working with the musical instrument, with the violin, her voice, her energy. Imram has a really good assistant, the one that also helps to drive that energy.